to come up and get this.
It herself.
She didn't know I brought a hat.
Whatever.
So
You're just
how's she gonna
wasting
bring
more
her own
time.
hat?
You want me to run the
Well,
solo?
If you thought the Dance Moms drama ended when the show wrapped, think again. Abby Lee Miller is still making waves, and the behind-the-scenes gossip is juicier than ever. From feuds with her former dancers to shocking revelations about what really went down at the ALDC, here's all the latest tea. Maddie Ziegler's shocking Abby told she's done with her for good. For years, Maddie was Abby's golden child, but these days, she wants nothing to do with her. In recent interviews, Maddie has completely distanced herself from her former dance teacher, revealing that the intense pressure and favoritism were too much. Collision Maddie's truth bomb. She admitted she was terrified of Abby growing up and felt like she was constantly walking on eggshells. Collision the final straw? Apparently, when Maddie left the show, Abby expected total loyalty and turned on her when she wouldn't come back. Collision Abby fires back. Abby clapped back in interviews, saying Maddie owes her career to the ALDC and should be more grateful. Yikes. Chloe Lacasiak versus Abby, the feud that never ends. Chloe was one of Abby's most mistreated dancers, and years later, she's still not over it, and for good reason. Abby infamously mocked Chloe's appearance, played favorites with Maddie, and barely gave her a chance to shine. Eyes the latest shade? Chloe's mom, Christy, recently spilled more dirt, claiming Abby was even worse off camera and tried to sabotage Chloe's career. Fire Abby's reaction? She acted like she didn't even remember half the drama, but fans aren't buying it. Kendall Vert speaks out, Abby ruined my confidence. Kendall was always on the edge of Abby's good side, but in a recent interview, she got real about the emotional toll the show took on her. Broken heart, she admitted Abby made her feel like she'd never be good enough. Collision the breaking point? When Abby told Kendall she was forgettable and constantly compared her to Maddie. Police car light Abby's response? She laughed it off and said Kendall was just being too sensitive. Classic Abby. Abby's explosive social media drama. She's still stirring the pot. Even though the show's over, Abby isn't keeping quiet. She's constantly shading her former dancers on Instagram and TikTok. Mobile phone with Arrow recent drama. Abby threw major shade at JoJo Siwa, claiming she wouldn't be famous without the show. Fire JoJo's clapback? She basically ignored Abby and kept living her best life, but fans weren't happy with Abby's petty behavior. Astonished face more shade? Abby even suggested that some of the moms forced their kids to leave, implying they weren't grateful for the show. Where's Abby now? Her career is hanging by a thread. So, what's Abby actually doing now? After her prison sentence and health struggles, she's tried to make a comeback, but things aren't looking great. Prohibited, her Dance Moms revival flopped, and she's struggling to get a new show off the ground. She's teasing a tell-all book, but former cast members are already saying she's twisting the truth. Moneybag, she's making money on Cameo, but fans say her messages are getting weirder and more bizarre. Final thoughts. Is Abby done for good? With all the bad blood between her and her former dancers, it looks like Abby's reign is officially over. The real question is, will she ever stop stirring up drama? Probably not. For over a decade, Abby Lee Miller has been at the center of some of the most outrageous, jaw-dropping, and meme-worthy moments in reality TV history. Whether she was screaming at the moms, favoring Maddie, or walking out mid-rehearsal, Abby always delivered TV gold. Today, we're breaking down the biggest moments, the most shocking fights, and where the ALDC cast stands with Abby today. We have to start with the pyramid, aka the weekly ritual of chaos. Every episode, Abby would rank the dancers, and every week, someone would end up crying, screaming, or storming out. Collision the worst pyramid injustices. Chloe winning first place and still landing at the bottom row. Pouting face. Kendall getting bottom row for not standing out when she literally won a solo. Mackenzie being placed last for being too childish girl. She was like 8 years old. Maddie always being on top, even when she messed up. And the most savage part? Abby would literally drag these kids in front of their moms and say stuff like, "Fire, you're replaceable." "Fire, I could go to any dance studio and find someone better than you." "Fire, I don't know why you're crying. You weren't that good anyway." Excuse me. These were children. And let's not forget when Kelly screamed, "You're eating. That's why you're fat," at Abby during a pyramid meltdown. That fight was so bad, Abby called the police. Abby versus the moms. The most explosive fights ever. The moms versus Abby battles were some of the best reality TV fights in history. Let's talk about the most legendary moments. Fire Abby versus Christy, Chloe's mom. Abby's biggest enemy. These two hated each other. Christy constantly called Abby out for favoritism, especially when it came to Maddie versus Chloe. Their worst fight? When Abby told Chloe she had a lazy eye and Christy went off. Christy left the show mid-season after Abby bullied Chloe for years. Fire Abby versus Kelly, Brooke and Paige's mom. Kelly tried to keep her cool, but when Abby singled out Paige, she snapped. The infamous "you're eating, that's why you're fat" fight. Abby taunted Kelly about her kids, so Kelly slapped her, and that led to Abby calling the police. Police car light skull. Fire Abby versus Holly, Nia's mom. Holly was one of the most patient moms, but when Abby ignored Nia for years, she had enough. One of Holly's best clapbacks? "You're not God, Abby." Abby refused to give Nia a solo for no reason, other than being petty. When Nia finally left ALDC, Abby pretended she didn't care, but we all know she did. Fire Abby versus Melissa, Maddie and Mackenzie's mom. Melissa was Abby's BFF, until she wasn't. Abby tried to control Maddie's career and got mad when Melissa wanted to leave. Their friendship ended when Melissa pulled Maddie and Mackenzie from ALDC without warning. Abby called Melissa ungrateful and basically disowned her. Maddie Ziegler, Abby's favorite turned worst enemy? If there's one person who was at the center of the Dance Moms drama, it was Maddie Ziegler. Abby made Maddie her star and gave her the best solos, costumes, and praise. But behind the scenes, Maddie was stressed out trying to keep up with Abby's insane expectations. When Maddie left ALDC, she cut ties with Abby completely. In interviews, Maddie admitted she was terrified of Abby and felt forced to win at all costs. Abby, of course, fired back, saying Maddie owes her entire career to the show. Where are the OG dancers now? Let's check in on some of the biggest stars from ALDC. Sparkle's Maddie Ziegler, Hollywood actress, BFFs with Sia, wants nothing to do with Abby. Sparkle's Chloe Lukasiak, thriving. Went to college, has a book deal, and is done with Abby forever. Sparkle's Nia Sue, slaying on Broadway, working on music, and still classy despite the drama. Sparkle's Kendall Verts, still dancing, but admits Abby destroyed her confidence. Sparkle's JoJo Siwa, the most successful post-dance mom star. A music icon, DWTS runner-up, and still unbothered by Abby's shade. Sparkle's Mackenzie Ziegler, doing music, acting, and finally out of Maddie's shadow. After Dance Moms, Abby's life spiraled out of control. She went to prison for fraud. Flushed face. She battled cancer and spent months in a wheelchair. She tried a Dance Moms reboot, but it flopped hard. She's now making cameos for cash, and fans say she's gotten even more unhinged. She's tried to stay relevant, but it's clear her dancers have moved on, and so has the world.